Hello, welcome guys. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Sabby Sab Show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. Shout out to everyone watching on YouTube and Twitter. What is going on, guys? I have a couple stories to talk about tonight. I hope you are having a happy Friday. I am. Let me go ahead and share my thumbnail so I can show you what we're talking about tonight. Sharing my thumbnail. Sharing my thumb. Okay. Hey. Let me just put it up really quick. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day today. I am usually more organized. All right. Let me share my screen. Okay, so tonight we are talking about Kamala Harris's cringe remarks. Oh God, what did she say about Ukraine and Russia? And we're going to talk about Governor Abbott attacks on the LGBTQ community. It's very crazy what he's trying to do in Texas. And this is another reason why you got to vote him out. You just got to. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and get into that Governor Abbott story. Oh, my phone's gonna die. Oh wow. Turn it upside down. Let's get into that Governor Abbott story. I'm sorry, I'm being silly tonight. Here we go. All right. So this is the craziest thing I have ever heard of. If I have heard of anything, I cannot believe this is real. But this is what Governor Abbott is trying to do in Texas right now. Listen to this. Let me get rid of that. Texas Governor Abbott wants gender-affirming surgeries for trans kids investigated as child abuse. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am not exaggerating. Here we go. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is instructing state health agencies to begin investigating parents who are allowing their transgender children to get gender-affirming surgeries, calling it a form of child abuse. Now, I kind of see this as though, who are you to decide what type of surgery they can give or provide for their child? Who is he to make that decision? So this is very strange. I haven't heard a lot of people report this story, and I think more people need to talk about this because this is scary to me. It goes on to say, much like the whistleblower laws and Abbott's ban on abortions, he is asking licensed professionals and members of the general public to report any parents of minors who are getting elective procedures for gender transitioning. Abbott said in a letter on Tuesday that he is authorizing the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services to investigate any reported instances of these abusive procedures in the state of Texas. So first of all, let me pop out for a second and I'll continue on with the article. Who is he to make this decision? So first it was abortion. Guys, I told you, like, even when the law came out in Texas about abortions, I told you that this was going to be a domino effect. I said, you got to go back and find that video. But I said, It's going to start with abortions. And then the next thing you know, something else is going to follow. This is that something else. So he wants to report these parents. Now, what would happen after those parents are reported? Most likely their children would be taken away, taken from them, and they would be owned by the state, which means a lot of them would end up in foster care, orphanages, maybe. Taking them out of a home where they are cared for and loved, and from parents from parents who accept them as they are, and handing them over to the state, who 9 times out of 10 will not accept them for who they are. This is what's happening in Texas. I said this last year, this guy has to go. I'll get into his challengers in just a second, but let me go back into the article. So it goes on to say Abbott's letter followed an opinion letter from Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton on Friday, in which Paxton said that providing services like hormone suppressing drugs can legally constitute child abuse under Texas family code. What the heck is a family code? It goes on to say Abbott said that those found in violation will face criminal charges. Now they're trying to lock people up. Though it's not clear if he and Paxton can force the Department of Family and Protective Services to investigate parents of trans kids for child abuse. He wants to arrest these parents. This is the expanded police state. You see what's happening? And see, now that they have given the police more money, they have more resources to do something like this. You see why we need to defund the police? He is seeing this as criminal behavior. They're going to lock people up for anything now, any little thing. First, they tell women that they can't have abortions. And I told you who that would affect. That would affect women who are women of color heavily. And it's going to affect women who are poor. So they want those women to go ahead and have those children. But if you're poor, you can't take care of the child. You would have to get assistance from the government. But they don't want you to be on welfare. So which is it? And some people come back with this argument and they say, well, they can have the child and put the child up for adoption. I beg to differ. Because even if you are carrying the child, you still have to pay for the medical expenses. You still have to go to the doctor and get checkups when you're pregnant. You have to do labor and delivery. Ask people who have had kids how much their hospital bill is after they've delivered a child. Let's go back into the article. In Texas, Harris County, which contains Houston, the elected attorney who oversees their protective services said that they will not enforce Abbott's instructions and said in a statement that they are ignoring medical professionals and intentionally misrepresenting the law to the detriment of transgender children and their families. Trans and human rights groups decried Abbott's letter, saying that it will cause fear and misinformation. No court here in Texas or anywhere in the country has ever found that gender affirming care can be considered child abuse. Now, that's coming from the American Civil Liberties Union of Texas. The opinion released by Paxton cites highly partisan, outdated, and inaccurate information that ignores the consensus of every major medical association and the evidence-based and peer-reviewed standards of care. Trans youth continue to be threatened in Texas by state leadership as part of a politically motivated misinformation campaign that harms children. And major medical organizations such as the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Medical Association, and the American Psychological Association have said that gender affirming medical care is medically necessary service for transgender kids. The White House condemned Abbott's instructions in a statement to the Dallas Morning News on Wednesday. Conservative officials in Texas and other states across the country should stop inserting themselves into healthcare decisions that create needless tensions between pediatrics and their patients. That's coming from Corinne Jean Pierre, the deputy principal press secretary for the White House. No parent should face the agony of a politician standing in the way of assessing life-saving care for their child. The trans community has continued to be under attack. And I was always one of those people where I never really understood, why do you care what gender someone is anyway? Why do you care? Why does that bother you? If you're not the one that's having the surgery, why do you care if someone else does? I always saw that as none of my business what other people want to do with their bodies. But this is a slippery slope and it's scary. The fact that he even wants to do this. Now, I want to tell you about his challengers. For those who do not know, yes, Beto is running again, and he is running against him. And he is not doing well in the polls. And let's be real, I don't like Beto anyway. I think he's a hack. I think he's a fraud. He is not progressive. He is not a leftist. He's one of those people that campaigned on progressive policies, but at the end of the day, he's a moderate Democrat. But there is someone else who is running for governor of Texas, and this person needs much more attention. You may have seen her on here before. She's awesome. And she's running third party. Let me share my screen. This is Delilah Barrios, guys. You've probably seen her on here before. She is running for governor of Texas. If you are watching this and you are in Texas, you need to know about this. You need to know you have another option besides Beto and Governor Abbott. This is one of the reasons why CJ is putting together a third-party candidate summit. Because a lot of times we don't even know who the third-party candidates are because the information is hidden so well. And the two-party system candidates are promoted heavily. Third-party candidates are not. Let me tell you something a little about Delilah. Delilah is from Texas. She grew up there. She said, I grew up in what is well known around Texas as the Valley. Born and raised in Brownsville, my family moved all over the coast, Port Isabel, South Padre Island, Houston. My parents were hardworking, honest people. They got along with friends and family. Our house was always had people there. Let me go down. Listen to this. Even moving to hill country has exposed myself and my family to pollution from the oil and gas industry. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, Beto and Governor Abbott don't care about this. They'll still take money from the fossil fuel industry. In fact, a big reason I decided to run for governor was the Permian Highway Pipeline Project. The community came together because this project threatened their water, vulnerable karst springs, and endangered species. Despite all of the fight from the citizens in my county, the project moved forward. I watched helplessly as heritage oaks and beautiful rolling hills were destroyed. The people scarred and heartbroken from senseless destruction. In my time as a medical worker, I've seen the effects of a lack of health care. This is someone who works in the medical field. They've seen it. We have been needing a public option since I was born, and we are no further providing better quality of life for people, and we must. It is morally irresponsible to continue to subject people to predatory capitalism and for profit health insurance. I will fight for Medicare for all. I will fight for equality and justice. I am working class, woman of color, mother of 3 beautiful children. This fight is not just about me or you, it is about all of us. That's Delilah. So, for people watching this, if you are in Texas, I just want you to know that you do have another option. She's one of the people that I would have liked to see on that Seize the House panel. This is why it's important that we platform those candidates. People need to know that they are there. Someone like Delilah would have been amazing to have. Thanks so much for the super chat, Black Fruit. Obama ended habeas corpus, so I guess they need to come up with more reasons to lock you up with no legal remedy. Tyranny wastes no opportunity. Thank you so much for that super chat. Andrew said, what are the smears that the establishment could have ready? Delilah doesn't have connections. She doesn't know how to negotiate things related to experience. Again, it's just people have to be given the platform, you guys. They have to be put in front of a large audience. I've had Delilah on my show. I've had other third-party candidates on my show talking about their platform, talking about their campaign. And I think that even though I've had them on, I'm still a small channel. But imagine what could happen if these candidates were on a platform like Breaking Points, or if they were on a platform like, give me another one. Give me another one. A big one, a big one, a big one, a big one. Oh, Secular Talk. If they were on a platform like that, just imagine more people would know them. And I'd be willing to bet that more people would vote for them. Because people are tired of the duopoly. People want a third party. People want another option. And I think it's unfortunate that they're not given that platform. It's very unfortunate. Leroy said we need to platform people like Delilah. If not, there's no difference between mainstream media and indie. I agree. Why are we not? Why is this not happening? Right? You can't continue to say the Democratic Party is bad, but then you keep putting people through the Democratic Party. You can't continue to say we have to end these the corrupt corporate money that comes into the two-party system, that comes into the Democratic Party, but you're still putting people into that party. That is the problem. And I don't hear a strategy on how to get the money out. So if the party is tied to Wall Street and the party is a corporation, it doesn't matter if you put a progressive in that party. The party itself is what is owned. Nancy Pelosi was once a progressive. Remember that? Look at her now. People change. People change. Oh, hi, Quaker. Hello. Hello. Sugar said electoral politics right now is not going to work. It's a mess, right? It's an absolute disaster. Yes, that's a good one. Where Pilgrim, Rising, TYT, Majority Report. Yeah, imagine if those candidates were brought onto those platforms. They're hidden, and that's on purpose. There's another candidate running here in Massachusetts too, by the way, that I've had on my show. But we have to start like asking these questions. Maybe push some of those people to bring them on. I was just going to some of the comments. I'm sorry. Leroy said, Leroy said Beto is a fail upwards Democrat. Yes. How many times is this guy going to run? I don't know. But come on, given the options, would you rather vote for Governor Abbott, Beto O'Rourke, or would you rather vote for someone like Delilah? So if you live in Texas, that's another option that you have. So when people tell you, and yes, remember, Green Party, she's running Green Party. Green Party has ballot access. Jill Stein was on 48 ballots. She was in the ballot in 48 states. Imagine if networks like TYT would have said, vote for Jill Stein instead of telling you at the end to vote for Hillary Clinton. Imagine the difference that could have made. But no, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to talk about Jill Stein. Meanwhile, mainstream media was calling her a Russian asset. We have a responsibility here to tell people about information that mainstream media is not telling them about. As independent journalists, we have that responsibility. What's that, Alan? Sabby, how can a person in a heavily dominant party area have a legitimate shot? Should we be focusing on character? I do understand what you mean. There are some places that have closed primaries, so you can't, they can't run third party. But for the places that can, I mean, look, Shama Sawant won. And when I brought on Socialist Alternative, you know what they told me? They said the reason why she won is because she didn't go through the Democratic Party. Not kidding. I've had them on twice. Great group, by the way. If you're looking to get involved in a group that actually goes out and does things, because Socialist Alternative, they do stuff. They hit the ground. If you're looking for that, I definitely say check out Socialist Alternative. That's that group. Because Shama Sawant isn't just a politician, she's also an activist. She'll be on this weekend for the Women's Summit. So tune in for that. That should be fun. Should we be focusing on character? Focus on character, also focus on their issues, the issues that they're running on, the policy issues. You have to focus on, honestly, all of it, because this is someone that you're trying to put in office, right? Look and see if they actually represent you. Do they? When they make these statements and speeches about the working class, have they ever been working class? These are questions to ask. But they would have a better chance if they were given that platform. That's the problem. They're not given the platform. Green Party has its issues too. You guys probably have heard me talk about this before. They don't advertise the way that they should. The marketing is not good. The communications is not good. They need to work on that. I don't know who's in charge of all of that, but they need to work on that. They need to advertise more and get their name out there more. That's right, Eric. Dim exit left. Stage left. I forget the cartoon character used to say that. I couldn't find any either. She's asking me if I know of any anti-war actions in our area. I can't find any. It's a bit disappointing. A kind comrade reminded me to have patience with them, and it's very good wisdom. There's a website called masspeace.org. I don't know if everyone's familiar with this, but they are anti-war, and also Jill Stein actually just did a protest with them right here in Boston recently. Here's the link. I'm putting the website in the chat there. I think that was like a week or two ago. Someone sent it to me. I found out after the fact, but Jill Stein was there and she did a a peace action with them. So yeah, definitely check out masspeace.org. I think I'm supposed to do an interview with them. Yes, in March. I'm supposed to do an interview with them in March. Thank you so much for this The Revolution Continues blog. There's supposed to be a week of actions March 1st through the 7th against the war in Ukraine. Thank you so much for that. That is good to know. I'm going to go on to my second story, which is Kamala Harris. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right. So Kamala Harris had a speaking engagement, and they were asking her questions about the conflicts going on with Ukraine and Russia. And Kamala Harris's response, well, it's Kamala Harris. Let me show you what she said. Let me get to the video. Okay. Here we go. All right. Let me cue up the video and then I'll read the article. I think we just hit another ad. Oh, it's a long ad. Shoot. Give this just a second. Anyway, this says Kamala Harris slammed for word salad response to Ukraine Russia questions. So, oh, here we go. Let me see if it'll let me go back. Okay. Are you going to let me expand? I don't like when they don't let you. Well, I don't know why. It doesn't let me expand, but anyway, here we go.
I mean, listen, guys, we're talking about the potential for war in Europe. I mean, let's really take a moment to understand the significance of what we're talking about. It's been over 70 years. And through those 70 years, as I mentioned yesterday, there has been peace and security. We are talking about the real possibility of war in Europe. So our position is for us very clear, which is as a leader, which we have been, bringing together the allies, working together around our collective and unified position, that we would all, not just prefer, we desire, we believe it is in the best interest of all that there is a diplomatic end to this moment.
That was a lie.
You can't have an office when you're not in an office. Well, unless you have
Whoops, sorry, I was muted. She said that they have had peace for 70 years in Europe. That's not true. Here she is again. Hold on, let me bring her back in.
I mean, listen, guys, we're talking about the potential for war in Europe. I mean, let's really take a moment to understand the significance of what we're talking about. It's been over 70 years. And through those 70 years, as I mentioned yesterday, there has been peace and security. We are talking about the real possibility of war in Europe. So our position is for us very clear, which is as a leader, which we have been, bringing together the allies, working together around our collective and unified position.
Is working together behind a collective and unified position giving lethal aid to Ukraine? Is that what she means by working together? I don't know. You guys tell me. Is that what she's talking about? She said they've had peace in Europe for 70 years. The conflict that's happening in Ukraine and Russia, that conflict goes back 8 years. When you listen to this on mainstream media, they make it seem like just out of the blue, Russia just decided, let's go near Ukraine's border. Like this just happened just out of the blue. This conflict has been an issue for 8 years. So I just want to tell people that because I don't hear a lot of people on mainstream media saying that. Let me go to some of the comments and then I'm going to read the article. Yeah. Where Pilgrim said, yeah, Trudeau's been saying that peace for 75 years line too. Yeah, like, are you not going to mention all of these other conflicts that have happened in between? I don't understand. The revolution said, well, if you don't count Bosnia and Macedonia. Listen, what? I don't understand. I don't understand. Thanks so much for the super chat, Janice. Third parties run in closed primary states for the general or midterm. They need to meet significant requirements and in many states pay fees from $1,500 to $56,000 to receive ballot access or be written in. Yeah, that's a good point. That's one of the things. You do have to come up with that money and you do have to come up with the signatures. I think in Massachusetts, I think we need 2,000 because I actually had a meeting with someone about this recently about getting the signature. This was for MPP Massachusetts. They were talking about that. And they were talking about that we need like thousands of signatures. And it's not something that's easy to do, but the requirements are tough. I'll just be honest with you. Justin said, yes, 100% Sabs. This war was 8 years in the making. I think Putin has showed extraordinary restraint. Absolutely. I mean, they're acting like that's what kills me. They're just like, yeah, just overnight, Russia just decided to go hang out on the border. No, it didn't happen overnight. They leave that part out. She's Black said, I think she sounds horrible because the imperialist coups are not working as well as they used to. Most people are not believing the US narrative lie anymore. Bingo. After we were lied to about Iraq, all of these conflicts are suspect to me. All of them. Just had to say it. Sorry, just had to say it. So let me go on to the article. So give me a second here. All right. Let's get past Bane. Someone said in the comment she looks like Bane. All right. So it says here, let me make this larger for you. Vice President Kamala Harris was mocked after she appeared unprepared to discuss the Ukraine crisis during a Q&A with reporters at Munich Security Conference in Germany. I mean, listen, guys, we're talking about the potential for war in Europe. Harris said at one point Sunday, in response to a question about how the Biden administration saw the situation's in-game playing out. I mean, let's really take a moment to understand the significance of what we're talking about. The Veep went on. It's been over 70 years. And through those 70 years, there has been peace and security. We are talking about a real possibility of war in Europe. Twitter user, I told you that was a lie already. But Twitter user John Will Chambers summed up the thoughts of many by asking, did I just watch Kamala Harris claim there has been peace in Europe for 70 years? Yes, you did. Washington Examiner reporter Jerry Dunleavy pointed out on Twitter that those 70 years of peace and security included the Yugoslavian civil wars of the 90s, which I was present there for that, as well as Russia's attacks on Georgia and Ukraine. Yeah, a lot of people don't remember this. I do because I was actually living in Europe at that time. But there were the wars in Yugoslavia. Um, that was a big deal. I forgot about Georgia, but yeah, Georgia as well. And that, by the way, that's Georgia the country, not Georgia the state. Just letting everybody know there is another Georgia. Um, Also, Berlin Wall only came down 3 decades ago, so I quibble with 70 years. He added before emphasizing in a second tweet that it is not true there have been no wars in Europe for 70 years, nor do I consider the Soviet occupation of Eastern Europe peace and security. Sending perpetually unprepared Kamala Harris over to attempt to quell a geopolitical crisis is such an outrageous move. That came from Republican Matt Whitlock. He's one to talk. This word salad, may God help us all. This came from Sean Parnell, who's former GOP House Senate from Pennsylvania. We are being led by total buffoons. Q Veep closing credits. That came from Republican pollster Patrick Ruffini. I wish some of these comments would have came from the Democratic Party. I wish Republicans and conservatives had looked askance at the White House decision to send Harris to the high level conference, with many noting her failure to resolve the ongoing US Mexico border crisis as President Biden's point person on illegal immigration. So I think that people need to stop interviewing Kamala Harris. Just period. No TV interviews, no press conferences. And I know people will say, oh, well, Kamala's hiding. Maybe she should. She just goes out and she bombs it. Like every time she bombs it. So I just, no, no. I want to show you something in reference to this. I want to show you what's been going on. Let me see if I had that picture. Here it is. Because the thing is, it's not just about what's happening in Europe. It's also about what's happening abroad in other countries as well. I want to share my screen. The United States government is not innocent. They're not. U.S. airstrikes soar in Somalia. U.S. Africa Command has released data on 18 strikes in 2017, more than 4 times the annual average in the previous 7 years. So you can see the dates here. I'll make this a little bit larger. Oh, I guess I'm not. Okay. This is insane. January 7th, June 11th, July 4th. On July 4th, you guys. How low can you go? Seriously, July 4th? Our Independence Day. Let's go bomb some country. Pew! July 30th, August 10th, August 16th through the 17th, September 5th, September 7th, September 13th, November 3rd, November 9th, November 11th, November 14th. That's insane. And here's the map here. The U.S. military's escalation follows President Trump's order in March that allows the U.S. Department of Defense to conduct lethal action against al-Shabaab within a geographically defined area of active hostilities in support of partner forces in Somalia. Look at this. In 5+ months, Trump bombed Somalia 17 times. In 7 years, Obama bombed Somalia 29 times. And it's still happening today. Nick was saying something the other day about how people's heads are spinning because of what's happening in Ukraine. All of a sudden, all these Americans care about the Ukrainian people. Really? Why weren't people's heads spinning over the airstrikes in Somalia? Why aren't people's heads spinning over the bombings in Syria? But when it happens in a European country, people don't care about brown people far away. Hell, people don't care about brown people here. Where's the outcry? Where's the outrage? Why aren't some of these mainstream media networks talking about these airstrikes in Somalia the way that they're covering Russia and Ukraine? Did you know? I'm going to have to pull this up one day. I'll have to find the source because I lost it. But did you know if you were to look at most maps, Africa is seen smaller than it actually is? Did you know that? I learned that when I was in middle school. My history teacher explained that to us. Not everybody's going to have a history teacher that's going to tell you the truth about that. But I found that out when I was 12 years old. 12 years old. That is done on purpose. They intentionally make Africa look smaller than it actually is. They make Europe look larger. Why is that? They don't want you to see Africa as a significant continent. They want you to think of it as insignificant. There's a lot of things about Africa that people don't know. There are still people today who are adults who think that everybody in Africa is living in a hut. There are cities in Africa too. Africa was a very rich country at one point. Africa was robbed. By Europeans. You have to think back to the diamonds. There's a movie, by the way, if you've never seen it, Blood Diamond. You should definitely watch that movie because it talks about what people go through to get those diamonds in Africa. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal. This is why I highly recommend if you're trying to purchase like a diamond ring, you're going to propose and do the whole thing. Make sure you can trace where the diamonds came from. You want to make sure they're not blood diamonds. People have had their hands, their arms cut off in Africa for those diamonds. You want to check that. That's important. So they're called non-conflict diamonds. Yeah, Hayward said Africa is still rich. Other countries have stolen their resources. So I hope you guys learned something new tonight. I try to drop some new info here or there, but yes, go look at a map and you can try to use DuckDuckGo. Try to use DuckDuckGo and try to find the real size of Africa versus what you see on maps. That's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame that even our history that's taught in our schools, it's propagandized. It's not just the media. Yep. Eric said, we have a blood system of exploitation. There is blood on everything. Oh, that's a good point, Eric. It's kind of weird about maps. There's no reason North has to be on top other than European bias. Oh, that's a good point. That's right, Ashura. I think she meant stole. They also stole their arts and treasures by white colonials. Yep. Mm-hmm. She's Black said Western nations participated in the theft of thousands of pieces of African art. This is true. This is true. So you see, when you hear people make these statements for pro sanctions, that includes people like Bernie Sanders, that includes people like AOC recently, all of a sudden, all these people who were against sanctions are for them. You notice that? You've been following them on Twitter? I want you to think about what they're really talking about. I told people this about a week ago, that people are starving in Afghanistan because of the sanctions that were implemented by the United States government. They're starving because Joe Biden is taking their money. So when people make these statements, oh, just do a little bit of sanctions, it shouldn't happen, period. It's interesting to me how many people who are leftists all of a sudden are making these liberal talking points. Think some people sold out. I'm anti-war. I'm anti-imperialist. I'm not for a little bit of sanctions. It's all or nothing. Because those people in those countries, they suffer because of it. We don't understand what that's like because it doesn't happen to us. Imagine if someone put sanctions on us. Imagine if China was like, I'm going to put sanctions on the United States. Oh, we would be in trouble because we do so much business with China. We don't know that pain. Oh, that's a good point, Janice. Sold out or we're grifting from the start. I told you after Trump won, don't be surprised if people start to change or they reveal their true colors. Thank you so much for the super chat, Black Fruit. Africa can never be repaid for all the human and material wealth that was taken over the centuries, yet Africa is abundant and rich. See? Thank you so much for that. I was lucky. I had a good history teacher. She was a little bit more brutally honest. I'll be real. I want to show you guys what I'm going to discuss tonight at 8:00. Where did it go? Well, there it is. So if you want more Sabby, you can catch me at 8:00 Eastern Standard Time on my channel, Sabby Sabs. It should be a pretty interesting show because this is what is happening tonight. Nick Brana speaks to Sabby. Yes, Nick Brana is coming on tonight. I am going to talk to him about the recent allegations that have come out against him and what's going on with MPP. I'm going to discuss Breaking Point's lies. That's about Russia and the Ukraine. And I'm also going to discuss Amazon protesters are arrested. So that happened the other day. Chris Smalls was one of the ones that was arrested. He was doing absolutely nothing wrong. So I have a video for that I'm going to talk about. So that should be pretty interesting show. So hang in there. If you do join me tonight, I do want to say this. I am not a judge. I am not jury. This is not a trial. This is an interview with Nick. I have reached out to all of the people involved. Some of them have come on already. Some don't know if they want to yet, may or may not. So my job as a commentator here is to make sure all sides are presented. So that is what I am going to do tonight. And I needed to say that because so many people have already reached out to me and they're like, oh, you better do this, you better do that. And I'm like, look, I can't determine the truth about this, but I can ask questions. Again, I'm not a judge. So that will be happening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This weekend, guys, I do have the Women's Summit. I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys get a chance to check it out. I do want to show you what you are in for because I don't know, man. I'm really proud of this. I think I did a good job, man. I think I did. Give me just a second. I'm going to show you the people. I'm going to show you the people. All right. Where's my, okay, recent file. Okay, recent file. Yeah, recent file. Okay. I want to show you guys the promo vid if you didn't see it yesterday. Go ahead and put it up over here. I downloaded it. Oh, wait. Oh, I got an email. Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, let me pull this up real quick. That's why I hate going into my email sometimes when I'm just trying to like open up one thing because then I'll see I'll have all these messages and I'm like, oh man. Yeah. So here is the promo vid. Go ahead and cue it up. I'll show this and then I'll be out. Honey buns. Computer love. All right. Sorry, I'm moving a little slow today. It's been a busy day. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. One more time. All right, guys. So here's a promo of the women that are coming to the Women's Summit. I hope you guys enjoy it this weekend. I'm excited and I'm pumped. I usually don't stream on the weekend, so this will be different for me. So, but here we go. All right. So that's this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 7:15 p.m. both nights. There's 2 panels on Saturday night and 2 panels on Sunday night. Here are the panels: women's health, women in the workplace, violence against women, and women activists. The cool thing about this is these are women from all different walks of life. Some are working class, some are not. Some are, there's different races, there's different ethnicities, different backgrounds. You're going to meet women who are activists, who are actually on the ground, like Medea Benjamin. She's one of the co founders of Code Pink. They do a lot. I think they have an action this Saturday, I want to say. They do a lot. If you're not familiar with them, you should definitely follow Code Pink. Shama Sawan is very much involved with Socialist Alternative. I told you that's her organization. I definitely recommend that you check them out. They're doing like big, bold things out there. Afeni, she's another one. She works with freedom fighters in DC. She's going to talk about her organization. Josana is going to talk about the differences between activism in her home country, Brazil, and in the United States. And I think you might be surprised at what you hear about what they're able to get accomplished over there versus what we do here, where we don't really come out in large numbers the way that we could and the way that we should. So you're going to hear some interesting voices. Violence against women, some people are going to share their own personal experiences. So I want you to be aware of that and be very respectful of that, because that is not something that they have to do. But you're going to hear about some of these situations. How do women get out of domestic abuse relationships? Because that's not easy to do. And how can you do so in a safe way? You're going to hear about women in the workplace. Why are women less likely to negotiate salary? What is that all about? So you're going to hear about some of the things that we could do to try to fix some of these things. You're going to talk about women's health care, which some of the numbers, the statistics that I found are quite alarming when it comes to women's health. Why is that? And what can we do about it? So I look forward to this weekend. Hope to see all you guys there. If you want more Sabby, you can join me on my channel, Sabby Sabs, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nick Brana will be on there. We're going to talk about the Breaking Points Russia story, and we're going to talk about Chris Smalls being arrested. So definitely, guys, whoop, 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 whoop. Let's get to it. Hope you have a good time. Oh, I forgot to shout out the super chat. Thanks so much for the super chat, Steve. Sabby, did you Nick on, I'm sorry, did you see Nick on Status Coup today? I saw a part of it. Yeah, I saw part of it. All right. So, all right, guys, I'm heading out. Have a good night. Keep up the fight.